morning. So today I have Rakesh with us, who is a global product manager with a unique experience in firmware, software, and business development to drive consumer product firm, which is something that's so important because all these combinations together can help you understand what the business landscape is and what the consumers want from you these days. Let's welcome Rakesh on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, who is working with one of the top companies when it comes to producing semiconductors. And he will tell us about where he's currently working, what he does, and why this company is specifically important when you're applying for jobs. Hi, Rakesh. How are you doing today?
Hey, Minal. Thanks for having me on the show. Glad
Of
to be
course.
here.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rakesh. I won't take longer than 10 minutes, I promise. And I won't bug you more than that. So, can you tell us, Rakesh, where you currently work, what your role is with the company?
Yeah, so I'm currently working for AMD. I'm a director of product management here. More specifically, I manage the product management for the next generation Ryzen processors. If you guys are not familiar, I'm assuming you guys are not familiar. It's Ryzen is one of the top brands that we have driving a microprocessor that goes into the laptop and other compute engines.
Okay. And what got you into product development specifically?
Yeah, so right now I'm in product management. I started my career almost 10 years ago as an engineer. Fresh out of school, I got an opportunity to work with an amazing set of engineers 12 years ago in North Carolina. We were building the first chipset, which would become the Snapdragon. Now, for people familiar with Snapdragon, it's one of the leading processors that you'll see in most of your Android phones. I had the good fortune of working with the founding engineering team there. So the first 2 to 3 years, it was a very great experience, engineering experience, not only learning from a technological standpoint, but I used to work with a lot of these teams spread across the globe, right? Israel, India, all the engineers at different teams, they have different work culture. The way they approach the problems is different. That was a unique experience that really helped me not only become more technically astute, but to work with different personas, different cultures. I think that's very important, and I was fortunate to get that experience pretty early in the game. To exposure to the how different people across the different world work. It was a great engineering experience. What I realized that I was missing at that time frame is a 360-degree view of how a business is run, right? You can be a great engineer, but I wanted to be a person who could run a business on my own, and I didn't have the current role that I had there, was not giving me that scope. So I decided to do an executive MBA, and the team that I had there was very helpful in my pursuit. So after my MBA, I moved to inside my company Qualcomm to a product management role, right? So a product management means very different in different companies, but basically the key, features of a product manager is you're managing a product from the conception to the end. So your technical capabilities definitely help. You're interacting with different business folks, you're interacting with salespeople. So you're kind of a central linchpin for these different functionalities. And I kind of enjoyed that. So after Qualcomm, where I spent close to 12 years, I moved to a startup, worked there for a year. That's when, this opportunity with AMD opened up, and it was exciting. We're in a very exciting space where there's a lot of innovation happening, even in the laptop, courtesy the unique environment that we are in. Right, we are all so used to having smartphones in our pocket, but we are also spending equally, if not more, amount of time in front of our laptops. Right, the role that I have here is how can we define the segment in such a way that it can be very closely integrated with what we do day in and day out.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. And I love how you experience the globality by working with teams from all over the world, which is currently that a lot of companies are currently being forced into transitioning into,
Yeah.
specifically because of the pandemic. So people are working together from all over the world. And I love that you actually mentioned that you got to work with people all over the world. You got to experience different cultures, because I think differences can challenge people to work together, to set aside their differences specifically, and to come up with a solution that would best cater to the needs of the client or the customer specifically. So hats off to you. And Rakesh, I'd love to know, you mentioned that you got an amazing opportunity as soon as you got done with your degree. How did you come across this amazing opportunity where you could work with such brilliant people?
Yeah, I got into market in thick of 2008, right, when the recession was, just hitting. So I was fortunate enough in the sense that I was a hire right out of campus. In 2008, the global scene was, the job scene was not pretty. there were a lot of companies extending the offer, taking back the offer and stuff. I was fortunate enough because, it was a right out of campus hire. I was able to connect with this team. The interview went well. But, in general, if I have to give a couple of advice to people who are looking for a job now, especially now, as you mentioned, we're talking about there are a lot of opportunities out there, right? As a job seeker, I should say that you need to follow a couple of strategic items. First one is be very strategic in what companies you're pursuing, right? There's no point in having a list of 100 companies randomly, shooting your resumes to LinkedIn and stuff. It's the return on investment is going to be very low. You need to be strategic enough in listing 4 to 5 companies that you want to work for. Learn more about what is unique about that company, right? Try to expand your network. Try to reach out to people who are working in these companies who are either in a similar role that you want to be, or they are a little bit ahead where you see yourself to be in a couple of 2 to 3 years, right? So networking is key. I know in virtually networking can become challenging, right? How tactful you are, what you have, what you can offer in these conversations when you build this network is key. So listing, 2 to 5 companies that you want to work for, trying to know more about those companies and trying to build networks in people who are working the specific roles that you're interested in is very important.
Okay, and where do you draw the fine line between quantity and quality of resumes that you send in? Because I think a lot of people are like, the more resumes you send in, the more chances you have of hearing back from more companies. But then I've heard also that you should cater your resume to specific positions you apply to. That will increase your chances of getting to the job. So, I mean, I think the area between black and white remains like anonymous. It doesn't exist. So, according to you, what would be the best approach to deal with this dilemma?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tempting, right? I've been helping a bunch of my friends and colleagues find job in this tough environment. What I constantly hear is you're on LinkedIn, they have this one-click submit your resume. So it's always tempting to just click and keep, submitting your resumes to multiple companies. I mean, I wouldn't do that if I was in such a position. Where I would spend my time again is trying to find out if I have any common connections in a specific company that I'm interested in, right? Have 1 or 2 coffee chats or conversation. And based on the input that I get, that's when I would probably modify my resume or my preparations more focused towards that company, right? In terms of the number of quantity itself, yes, it is a line in the sand. I would say pick your top dreamer companies that you want to work for. 4 to 5, right? And tier 2 companies that you don't mind working for, augmenting your skills. That's 4 to 5. So 10 to me still seems a lot, but it's definitely not more than 10 companies that you should be focused on in a given moment.
Yeah, okay. I love the strategic approach because I think so much time is wasted when you're actually applying to easy apply. Even if it's one click of a button, you'd rather spend that time on your resume, specifically studying about companies that would increase your chances of getting that dream job. So thank you so much for sharing that, Rakesh. Considering you've had a successful career, I'm pretty sure all of us can trust you when it comes to applying for jobs. Rakesh, the last question would be AMD is a company that most of us know about specifically because how well it's doing and how it continues to produce results. The last question would be whether your company is hiring, what kind of positions are open, so people know what to look out for in the market.
Yeah, I mean, as AMD, we are growing, right? If you'll find tons of openings across different job positions, be it engineering, be it IT, be it product management, there is always a lot of openings in AMD, and we are hiring, big and fast. Again, trying to narrow down on specific profile that you're interested in. If it's engineering, even in hardware engineering, what kind of job that you're currently doing, trying to have a closest match between what the job descriptions or what you think the company wants to what you have. That I think gets a recruiter or even a hiring manager's attention. So again, trying to map very closely on your job skills, why you think a company like AMD might benefit by having a person such as yourself, and do more homework, right? Do more homework about even if you're in an engineering role, you're applying for an engineering role, do a little bit homework about the industry, why you think AMD is right for you, and dig deeper into the technical skills that the company is wanting versus what you have. You might not have all the technical skills, but you should be in a position to show how you have worked in the past to update yourself and come come up to speed with what the job requires.
Thank you so much. I think there's so much pressure on candidates when applying for jobs that they must check all the boxes in the job description, that a lot of people just feel disheartened and they're like, I'd rather not apply for the jobs because I don't have all of those skills. But I love how you mentioned that you should showcase your past experience and how you learned and improved, because no human is perfect at the end of the day. There's always room for improvement. So thank you so much for sharing that, Rakesh. But other than that, Rakesh, it was an absolute pleasure having you as a guest. Our Monday was definitely filled with your insights and your wisdom. And I hope your company continues to grow and you continue to make a difference in this world by your humble nature and helping out friends that are looking for jobs. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks again, Thanks for having me on the show. Best of luck to all the job seekers out there in the market.
Of course.